Oh yeah.
Yep, I'm looking in, it's working. Oh man.
Okay, this is going to be a first look at my new Silent Scope 2 machine. I picked this up through OfferUp, which is a selling app. It's kind of like Craigslist. A guy listed it for free. The main catch with it, I mean, there's usually a catch with free machines, is that it has water damage. And just by looking at the bezel, you can tell that it got wet. The guy said it was working. Everything was working. He was playing it. He moved it outside. It got wet. As far as how many times it got wet, I don't even know. But he said he tarped it. I messaged him right away. It was like 3 hours after he posted it. He lived about 45 minutes away, and at this point it was like 4 o'clock. I asked him, hey, if I give you $50 for it, do you think you can hold it for me? And he said, give me 25 now and I will hold it for you. So that was a good thing. I did ask for him to hold it and paid up $50 for it because it would have been gone otherwise, because he said other people were messaging him about it. So we picked it up the following day, and we were back home by the time the Super Bowl started, because this was on Super Bowl Sunday. So we were able to get this deal done before the Super Bowl started. So it worked out. I mean, obviously, this is one of the greatest light gun games ever made, and easily one of the most unique. I got to thinking about light gun games just every now and then. I thought that the first one that always came to my mind was Silent Scope, or a version of Silent Scope, because of how unique it is. Everything else is either handheld pistols or other mounted guns. Like I've got a control panel for Aliens Extermination right here. I have another one right there. And these are mounted, and they move in pretty much the same form. They also have force feedback, and they have a LED display right here, and they do shake, and there's another button here. So you could argue that those guns are more advanced, but they don't have an LCD built in, and obviously they're not as big. I love Silent Scope. It's, in a way, it's like therapeutic because of how smooth the gun is, and you're not constantly firing. That's the thing about this game. You're not constantly firing. Pulling a trigger like this, it's slow. It's about taking your time and being accurate. There is a shooting range mode too. So if you don't want to shoot terrorists, you can just shoot targets. I thought I was going to have to move out my Arkanoid cocktail in order to fit it in storage here, but I didn't. As you can see, I can just, well, I pulled it out for the video, but I just roll it, both pieces in, and it fits. It wasn't too difficult to make room for it. Although I still might get rid of Arkanoid because I don't need the cabinet. The cabinet's not in great shape. I can strip it and still play the game that way by just making like a desk setup for it. As far as the other machines in here, I've got Cruis'n USA, the sit down, the seat's right there. You can't really see it, but it is. I've got an Atari football cocktail, which is in rough shape, but I mean, it's Atari football and it works. I couldn't say no to that for the price I paid. And we have Asteroids, the upright, which is fully working. I'm not able to actually plug anything into my storage unit because there's no electrical outlets, and they do this on purpose. They don't want you loitering around, and I get that. Although I'm hoping with Silent Scope, I have not plugged this machine in, and I'm hoping that they will allow me to use the electrical outlet that is down the hall that way. So that way I can see what this thing does. Really, this is the second time I'm looking over this machine, because when we put it in storage, I didn't get to look at it at all. Now I'm getting a chance to shoot a video, so. Aside from the water damage, it's really not bad. The gun looks fine. Trigger is clicking. I assume that marker switch has had a lot of use. Got the Konami branding, and as far as what's on the end, there's nothing. There's no hole here. because inside here is I think a 2-inch LCD, and you can't even see it. Even if I put a flashlight up to it, you can't see what's in there, but there is a 2-inch LCD, and it's basically a zoomed-in version of where you're pointing on the screen. You primarily play the game through looking through the scope, which is really cool. It doesn't have the foot pedestal. I asked about it, he said he didn't have it. And it's also missing the marquee. There's no fluorescent bulb either, I don't think. No, I mean, there's nothing in here. As far as the bezel goes, it's pretty ugly. And I can just lift it up like this and take it out. So there's the monitor. Now let's look at this. Look at this beautiful bezel. This actually looks really pixelated. The text is fine, but it's really pixelated. But yeah, it's ugly. It got wet, which also means that the front of the monitor probably got wet. This is marked medium resolution, so that this is a medium resolution monitor. I don't know if it can run in standard resolution, and I think this is actually, according to this label, this is a K75,000, a Wells Gardner K75,000, which, from what I understand, is probably one of the best monitors ever made, as far as arcade monitors go. And the tube itself is a Hitachi. It says January 8th, 1987. Really? This tube was already 13 years old when they installed it? Huh. Looking around the monitor. I mean, I'm not going to be able to do much inspection on the chassis unless I pull it out. There's no way to take this part off as far as I know. A couple nice handles here. The good news about this machine is that even though it got wet, I asked the guy, is it still working? And he said he doesn't know because he hadn't plugged it in since. And that's a good thing, because if you plug in a machine that, you know, say a machine got wet and then you plug it in the next day, well, there's probably still going to be water or at least moisture inside on the electronics. Powering up would kill it, or kill the monitor, you know, because there's moisture there. If electronics get wet, like if a circuit board gets wet, then it's okay. It's when you power it on, when it's still wet, that's when you have a problem, because you're trying to tell electricity to work and it has to deal with water. I forget when our last rainfall was. I think it was around Christmas, and here we are in like mid-February. So it's been some time. You know, I'll look everything over before I plug anything in. If everything's dry, then it should still be the case that it still works. Down here, you can see there's lots of metal shards, and that is because I drilled out the lock. I did that about 20 minutes ago in order to gain access to the coin bucket, and there's nothing in here like I expected. It is labeled though, Silent Scope 2. There's a couple of bugs or cockroaches, and I see spiders. So no, I haven't cleaned this thing at all. As far as the coin mech itself, it looks all right. This was already unlocked. And I guess it's made by Wells Gardner. The ejects are okay. Actually, you know what? No. This is freaking hollow. These aren't gonna eject or reject for shit. There's like half of the coin mech is missing. Okay. You know what? I'm gonna get my wallet out. I'm gonna put a quarter through, see what it does. So, what we got here? We got a New York. Yes. Is it a D or a P? It's a D. More common. Okay, so let's open it here. We'll go through the second slot. Yeah, that's not going through at all. The coin mechs are not gonna work. I mean, I assume it's on free play, and I mean, I really don't care if the coin mechs work or not, because I'm just not going to use them, but that's something I didn't know about. And I can hear it tick, so I mean, it probably works. We got two buttons here, test switch and service switch, I assume, and we have a label too. This is an original Silent Scope 2 dark silhouette machine, manufactured on the first quarter of 2000. So this was not a Silent Scope 1 machine that was converted. This is an original Silent Scope 2. So here are all the connections for the PCB. I had to unplug them because they had to go through this machine, and if you have cables connected, then you can't separate these. There's not really much going on. Got a couple holes. There's the wiring harness, which is attached to a cobweb. Yeah, I mean, what do you expect? It's dirty. There's nothing really in there. And the serial number is on the PCB set. It is 931 is the ID number for Silent Scope 2. That's what tells you that this is Silent Scope 2. And it starts with 931, so I mean, this could be the 400,000th machine made, even though that's not possible. So it's probably like the 1,099th machine made, something like that. I've got a couple, these two here, for linking machines together. A lot of people don't know this, but it was possible to link two Silent Scope machines together, and here's the jack for that connection, which is actually kind of rusty. This runs on the Konami Hornet hardware, and from what I understand, the Hornet is very similar to NWKTR, and I actually have the NWKTR cage right here. So a lot of these connections are actually the same. NWKTR is for Racing Jam, a version of Racing Jam 1 and Racing Jam Chapter 2. I don't have the board set in here, this is just the cage. I've got screws here for Silent Scope, and I also have a remote monitor board. You hook this up to this ribbon connection here. It allows you to control and adjust the monitor remotely, so you don't have to stick your hands in the chassis to adjust it. You can just pull this around with the board in hand, and you can see, you know, what the adjustments are doing. So it makes it real easy. And the power supply is a Yusan Electron Peter Chow, and it is adjustable. There's an adjustment knob right there, so you just take your flathead screwdriver and you can turn up the 5 volts. I assume it's for 5 volts. One more thing I'll say about the Hornet is that it's another one of those Konami systems that is suicidal. It does have a suicide battery, and it's basically the same thing as Racing Jam. It's a timekeeper RAM that is soldered directly to the board set, and inside that timekeeper RAM is a button battery, and that battery is responsible for keeping the data alive. So when the battery dies after like 10 years, then the game will refuse to boot up. I don't know if this is socketed, hopefully it is, but either way, the guy said it was working at least a year ago, so we're probably good for another few years or so. This is the audio amplifier, and this is actually the same as Racing Jam. It's dated 1997 right there, and so they just kept using the same amplifier because they didn't need to change it. So yeah, that's basically Silent Scope 2. Like I said, I haven't plugged it in yet. I haven't cleaned it yet. I don't know if everything is still going to work. I'm hopeful that it will. And as far as testing it here, like I said, there's a power outlet down the hall, so I can just roll this machine down the hall. It is on casters, so it's pretty easy to move. Okay, I'm about to power up Silent Scope for the very first time. I've never plugged this in. I've never turned it on. What I just did is screwed down these ground connections to the power supply because they were just hanging around in the cabinet. They weren't connected. The only connection that is not connected is this 3-pin ground one, which I assume, based on the length and by looking at the wiring diagram, it goes to the very top of the cabinet, which is where the marquee would be, but I don't have a marquee, so boo-hoo. If you can see here, yeah, there's some really bad bowing. If you push these two together, it's not totally flush. But that's what happens when things get wet. But yeah, it's plugged in, and all I gotta do is push the power button right here. Without further ado, we're gonna power this on. It was working before he unplugged it. And that sounded rain, and then he didn't put it in again. So here we go. Want to turn on immediately? We have that power supply is loud. That's the fan. Here comes the monitor. Oh. It's hard to see, but there it is. That picture looks pretty bad. I think it'll stay like this. Yep, okay. Yeah, that's blurry. And WK Hornet. It's checking the boards. The middle section here looks okay, but it's this outer that's blurry. I'm gonna have to, oh, is it resetting? It might be resetting. Please wait. Oh, no, it's not. Yeah, I have to go in the test menu because I have no idea how loud the volume is. I don't like the sound of that fan. I think the fan just died. Yeah, I think a fan just died. Oh, there we go. It's booted.
Silent Scope.
Holy shit. Okay. She's working. Only one speaker was on. Let me see here. Yeah. I'm going to go to sound. Okay, that's pretty low. Yeah. Yeah, I'll keep it at that too. Only one speaker's working. It's this right one. We would have heard twice the amount of chimes if the sound was actually working. This speaker is not working. I think it's just stereo. I don't think there's a subwoofer in here. But, yeah, look in the middle, it's not too bad as far as sharpness, but the outer is looking kind of blurry. I don't know what fan died, you know? You can see, so we have fans down here that are, we have exhaust fans that are blowing. I think the fans for the Hornet are good. There's one here too, I can feel it. I don't know why it's so loud. Or was so loud. Maybe it just, you know, had to get going. Take a look at the Hornet, what it's doing. You see that it does have a little LED display and it's just rotating. Nobody's in this building right now. Both coin mechs, the lights are on, but half of the coin mech is missing. Of course, it's probably on free play. I would adjust the monitor right now, but I kind of just want to play it, you know? Gun check. Oh, geez. Okay, I think a pot or two is bad. Oh, boy. Look how I'm moving it, and it's just going straight to the bottom left. Ooh. We fire at a blank screen. I'm gonna turn it down one more. Oh, it's going up. Shit. It's going up. I have to do this really quickly. I don't want to save that. How am I gonna turn this down if I can only go up? I'm gonna have to unplug the speaker. If I want to turn this down. Shit. These commercial speakers, they get loud. Okay. That wasn't too bad. Yeah, I just changed some settings around because this thing was outside. I think it was playing outside or something. Replay's not. Oh, yeah, replay's on. Scope screen. Oh, yeah. It's working. Check this out. There it is. Oh, that's sharp. I mean, it's an LCD. Yeah, it looks good. It's filling the circle. Okay, let's actually play something here. Yeah, it's silent now. Silent Scope. Did it just... Uh-oh. I wonder if it just crashed. We're at the beginning of the boot process now. Well, while we wait, I might as well mess with our adjustment here. Yeah, adjustments are working. It's played in widescreen, not 4x3. 4x3 sucks. It's played in 16:9. So Suicide Battery is good. So that's good news. I don't know when it was changed last. Is it blue looping again? Could have a power supply issue. Yeah, there's some pretty bad warping. Yep, it's blue looping. Shit. Okay, I just started a game. Restarting it worked. So here we go. What mode do I want in this shooting range? I just kind of want to test the accuracy here, even though I know that it's messed up. That's one of the pots, at least one of the pots is very jittery. I'm not looking at the scope right now.
Yep, I'm looking at it, it's working.
Oh man.
Yeah, it's accurate.
But when I go to this left, when I go to that left side, that's when it's jittery.
100%. Watermelons. It's been too long since I played this game. There's only like one arcade that I know of that has it. It is Silent Scope 2.
Oh, yeah, this is a great game. I mean, the involvement you get from this scope is unlike anything else. 72.
5 seconds.
Damn.
You got the best score.
Of course I did. I'm the only one who's playing this.
Keep
F.
up the practice.
I got an F. And now I'm gonna try to like get this in the scope. This is gonna be shoddy, isn't it? Story. Let's see if we can skip this because I'm running low on time here. But yeah, it works. You can kind of see it, but I have to point it to, aim. Okay, this is without the scope. I'm holding it now. Try freehand. To look at the phone. To aim. Doesn't help that it's jittering. Can we get a headshot? Close. I am super slow. Yeah, this is a game where you have to look at both monitors, but it's primarily the scope. Yeah, I mean, you can play without the scope, it's just obviously not easy. Time. Every shot gives you more time. Nope. Alright. One more quick game. Target practice. Then I gotta move this thing back in.
Start.
The speaker just came on. You hear that? The left speaker just came to life.
Yeah. All of a sudden it came on. Okay, now we have stereo sound.
Definitely sounds better. This never happened before. Okay, we're gonna target this one. Oh, yeah. I mean, it's possible I could just adjust it, the pot, but I'll probably have to replace one or both of them. Public nuisance, yeah, I'm not very good. That is fun. So that's the Silent Scope 2 machine. I'll definitely clean it up soon. So I'm going to roll this machine back in, head home. See, look how neatly packed away it is. And it's still got some room to spare. Yay.